Hi guys, it's August 3rd, or 4th in Korea, but still August 3rd in the East Coast. Um, running the ES real quick. Today we kind of expected a directional move. You can see the volume was huge on Friday after the sell-off. So really couldn't move much to the upside. I'll zoom it out real quick. And then failed right here. And then overnight on this Monday, just kind of ranged, had some nice spikes to the upside and to the downside, and then just kind of ranged up in between this area. And was really looking to see if it would break 98 or stay below it. Well, it stayed below it, came back up, and broke down pretty hard. So I thought this was going to be kind of the breakdown, but the market doesn't always move down or up in either direction, in a directional type of expectation in the time that you think it's going to happen. So I think it's happening now, which is after lunch on the East Coast. So try to attempt to go up one more time. Look like buyers are not going to hold the market up here. So I'm actually short like 20 contracts at 2091. I got in a little bit late. But after the second breakdown, I figured that if it wasn't going to push up to the upside, that this thing would continue moving down. So right now, and as you see, 20 contracts in at 2091, 50 actually, and my initial targets are going to be at 2086.5 to 2084.75. And looking at the rest of the markets, and I'll pull up a Ninja Trade chart real quick. Look at the rest of the markets. So you got ES S&P up at the top. You have the NQ Nasdaq and the TF, which is a Russell 2000. And so you're looking at right here, which is Friday. Friday, Russell shot up to upside, and now it's nearing the low. So once it really breaks down here, this thing could really accelerate to the downside, which means it could bring the rest of the stock market down, which I'm expecting at least on the ES. So if this thing does move down further, as it is right now, I'm definitely gonna see at least in my initial targets being hit, and we could go down even further from here. So depending on what the internals are looking like with the advanced decline and the tick and everything else, I'm going to see how long I'm going to hold on. But I definitely will scale out a little bit as I go down. And right now, my first target is at 86.50. 88.25, which just hit, is kind of the initial, could be the initial. But I'm seeing a lot of volume and push down in this market right now. So I'm going to hold on just a little bit and see what goes on. From here. And then now real quickly, I mean, I do want to manage this trade, so I'm not going to talk too much because I'm making a video live, but I do want to show you how the market's just kind of been moving and trading. So real quick on oil, ranged, I had a low around the 46.36, shot up prior market, came back down to it, ranged again, and then finally broke through. So that was your first sell right here. As you can see, it finally broke this 46.28.29, and then came back up for a retest, and that was a nice number 3 short, which is a retest of a low value area. Came and actually broke back into it again, but this really quickly, if you could just notice right here, the trend is really hard down, right? In that case, when it does come back up, you wait for a hedge fund line, and I already drew that in earlier at the 46.49 and the 46.64. It didn't quite reach all the way up here, which would have been just as strong. But as you can see, once you hit that 46.49, I did short a few contracts here, got out a little bit early. Did not think that it was going to move down this hard, but just look at what it did, you know. So just really comes to show you that, you know, if the market is really directional and it's in this instance it's in a downtrend, you know, when it moves against it, you know, all these buyers are going to be in a bad position, and as it happened, the market just completely tanked, especially after it hit the lows here. As you can see, once it broke the lows here, it just really accelerated all the way down, and you could have made a lot of money right here. So these are kind of trades that you look out for. I'm going to go back to my ES, see how much further this is going to go down. I am, like I said, my first target is at 86.50, and I'll start scaling out as I go, and then I'm going to try to see if this thing can push down even further to the 2077, depending on how much downside acceleration I see in the rest of the markets, and if my internals start to really go negative. And by negative, I mean, like, you know, down into the thousands to 1500. But that's why I definitely want to do scale out, because I maybe have another opportunity to get in as it breaks down here. And then again around at the 2084.75, which you can see over here to the left was where it initially bounced off of pre-market before Wednesday, where it shot up and then kind of held. So if this place right here holds, you know, then that's kind of your tell that the market's not going to continue breaking down. But if it breaks down from here and then comes down and does not push back up through here, then the market is definitely going to continue selling off, and that could be you know, my strategy, or will be my strategy, to hold on to this short. So right now I made about $3,600. I'm going to scale out again, like I said, at my first target at 86.50. And let me bring the yep. So this thing is still moving to the downside. I can see the low of the previous Friday on the Russell. So that could be another area where it might bounce initially, and then we'll see and read from there and see if it's going to push down even further. All right. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and pause the video and give you a quick recap at the end. Alright, I'm back, guys. Looks like the momentum's continuing. As you can see right here, I'll pull the the Ninja Trade. So you got the other markets really pushing down. Look at the market internals. It's making new lows. Okay, the tick is holding below 0. So looks like my first target's probably going to get hit right now. Let's see, one more tick. There we go, 20.86.5. So this is kind of the self-talk that I talk about in the past when it comes to managing a trade, because you kind of want to go through your trade strategy and talk yourself into why is it that you're staying in this trade, and why did you put those targets in place, and why are you staying in, you know? Because I could have got out right here at 88.25, and there's nothing wrong with that, because you're not sure what the market's going to do. But in real time, when you're seeing the other markets giving you information like what it is right now, I mean, I see this thing pushing down even further. And I can show you really quickly on the Russell here. As you can see, it just hit the lows. And if it breaks below there, there's not a whole lot of support if you look to the left until, you know, 1221 and further down. And same thing with the NASDAQ. You know, it's closing near the support area right there. So I'm hoping that this thing hits my target soon. It should. But as these other markets push down further, ES will be dragged down with it.
Order filled.
Okay, so there we go. There's
order canceled.
5 contracts out. Where's my? And then now I just have to manage my trades by moving my stops. So I had to stop a little bit higher than I. So what I do is I got 15 contracts left, so I'll put a stop right there. Tick below. Now I don't think it's going to be bouncing up and pushing back up from here, but you know, the basic idea is, you know, I want to manage my trades, so I just keep bringing my stops down as this thing gets pushed down. Let's go look at the internals again. All right, internals are continuing pushing down. Like I said, as it moves down, and if it goes into the thousands, you know, that's good signs for me to continue this downward move. And I was expecting this kind of directional move, so. And as you can see, you know, the market right here, it ranged, right? And it's just like the market profile trades here on oil, you know, where it holds certain levels right here, finally breaks down, first retest, you sell. You know, comes up a little bit higher, but if it was a pretty strong downtrend, you know, you can still sell at the high value areas, which was this trade right here, right? And then even if you missed that, once it broke down here, right, here's a low where it shot up after this first retest and then made a low, right, came up, retested that low, broke through it, and right here where it broke through and came back up, that would have been your sell right there, right? So I got in actually there one more time to see if I can get it down a little bit further, but I just didn't expect this kind of move. So that's why if you have more than one contract trading, you do want to leave that open. So let a runner just kind of just go down as far as it can. So here you go. Internals are now in the thousands, okay, negative thousands. All right. As it approaches the 13, 14, 1500, that'll kind of tell me how strong or how weak this market is. And right now the market's pretty weak.
Order canceled.
Okay, so I got another 5 contracts down. Let's see, where's my other? Okay, I don't have any other targets right now, but really my next target's going to be the 79 to 77 area. So, and this thing is just, I mean, it's just gonna keep pushing down. I mean, if it holds below the 84.75, this thing is gonna continue tanking. And as you can see over here on the rest of the markets, there really isn't a bounce. If I pull out here a little bit, you know, this thing is really hasn't really hit a support in any of the other areas right now. And the market internals are still pushing down pretty hard. So let me see. Move it out a little bit. Right. So these are kind of support areas on the other markets. And it looks like it's just going to blow right through there. So if it does, you know, still going to get a few more points out of this thing. Now, if you weren't in the markets here, what I would suggest is, you know, it just broke down below the support area, and there's a pretty big gap in points right here. If you want to look to your left, you know, once it breaks this area right here, this 86, which it did, you know, and there's not a whole lot of support. This is really not a whole lot of support, right? This 84, where is that, 75, you know, to me it was just a target, but once it breaks down here, you know, it's just going to keep moving down, because this really isn't a whole lot of support. It was a minor bounce. It did hold, but really this 86 support level, 86 to 88 is really the ideal support level to look to see whether or not the market's going to stay below it or bounce from here. And it did not bounce. It shot right through it, and then it hit my targets, right? So now looking at internals, if the internals still hold, my tick's under 0, and this thing bounces up and maybe hits the top of that the support zone, right, or the bottom of that support zone at 28.86, that could be another possible entry. Now it might be too late. Now this thing could just continue moving down, and there really is no other chance to get into the market here. And how would I get in? Well, you would look at the tick, and as it comes up to 0, if it happens to hit 0 or actually reverses and comes into the zone, right? But the rest of the market is still weak. The market internals are weak as it's showing right now. That could still be a valid short setup. But in my case, I've held up from this failed breakout, and then I saw a breakdown. Initially, I thought I was going to fail, but then came back down again and was able to re-enter the market. So this thing is going to continue to move down, as you can see. Okay. Take my pivots off. Don't really need these anymore. Okay. $79. I'll take another 5 around 79.
Order pending.
Let's see, where is that? Move to the left over here. Let's see what happened. Basically, zoom in. Okay. So you try to break out. Didn't. This was last Wednesday or Tuesday, looks like. Came up. Finally came up and tested it one more time. Came down as low as 76 and then exploded to the upside. Did not look back. Came down as low as 2078.5 and then shot up from there. So looks like that 2079 is a pretty good support zone or target for me. So I'll move that down to about 79. Oops. And look at that. Still holding, still pushing down. Now the total here, this is just what's remaining. The profits that I'm making, that's remaining right now. Let me go through some calculations right quick for you guys. Just check the other markets real quick, see if there's any levels I need to, okay. Nope. Still expecting this thing to move down a little bit further. Alright, this is new Windows 10, so I gotta figure this out. Alright, here's a calculator. Alright. So at $12.50 per tick, so every time it moves, the ES moves 25 cents. These are 25 cents increments, as you can see in this column here, right? If you have one contract, whether you're buying or selling, if it's going in the direction that you're thinking, it's going to net you $12.50 in profit or loss. Okay, I was short 20, so all you do is multiply that by 20, so 20 contracts, so $250 is what I made per tick, right? So per 25-cent move. I shorted it, let's say around the 2091. Let's just make it real even, okay? So from 2091 to holding it down to the, let's say 84, just the average. I mean, I'm giving bad estimates here, but averaging between when I held it to 86 to 84.75. So let's just say from 91. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's average down to 85. So 6. So 6 points. So every point, which is 4 ticks. So a point would be 25, 50, 75. So it's $1. Okay, 1 point is $1 move on the ES. So all you would do is multiply 250, which is per tick, all right? And if you want to find out by tick how many ticks I just moved, so I said, what did I say, 6? So 6 times 4, because every point, so 6 points I'm saying I might have made, right? And for every point, there's 4 ticks in there. So 6 multiplied by 4, that gives you 24 ticks, right? 24 ticks multiplied by $250 per tick for a 20 contract move, or for a 20 contract bet, and that's $6,000. Okay, so if I would have held on, or if I would have just got out all my contracts right now, I netted, about average $6,000 today. Okay, and that's just on the ES. And it's hard to focus on these markets now because I make videos on oil, I make videos on the ES. Oil would have been amazing if I would have shorted up here and just held it, even if I was just in like 2 more contracts. Because sometimes I trade between 5 to 10 contracts. If I would have sold that, like 8 to 10 contracts up here, got out halfway down here at the bottom, waited for this breakout, re-entered maybe here, and then just held and let this runner run. If you're making like 50 to 60, 70 ticks, it's time to kind of scale out, right? You don't want to. If the market's giving you money, you gotta take it while you can. But you see this huge down move. I would have definitely scaled out after that, and then seeing that this thing kind of hesitated between 10 to 15 ticks and finally shot down one more time, I definitely would have gotten out there. So that would have been my logic on how I would have scaled out on that one. But this would have been a monster move, much more than I'm making right now on ES. You need to stay focused. You can't trade all the markets at one time. So you want to make the best decisions. The ES was something that I was expecting for a directional move. I knew something was going to happen. The stars are aligning right now. So here's my thought right now. The tick actually went up to 0, and you can see this thing went nowhere near that support zone. To me, this is a weak market. This thing is just going to keep moving down, right? And then how do I confirm? Well, I look at the rest of the markets, and the other markets are still moving down with it. There's no real retracement, as you can see. You see kind of downward movements, and sometimes you see it retrace and come back down. There really isn't a whole lot of that going on. To me, the market is directional, like I said, and it's going to continue moving in one direction. Now, if there is some, if I look at the advanced decline and this thing showed a low here, and this makes another low on the price, but doesn't make a low here, I might start looking to scale out if it's significant enough. Only because it's moved a lot already, but if there's kind of a divergence where the advanced decline, which is supposed to tell me how many stocks are actually pushing to the downside, and yet the price is making new lows, and this is actually moving back up, that could be a potential for a bounce, right? But we're so close to my target, so we'll see what happens here. And as you can see right here, where that really huge amount of volume, and this is like over 100,000 contracts at the end of the day on Friday. It's the end of the month, July. There's a lot of other things going on that I won't discuss here, but you can kind of see where was that buying? Well, it was at that 95. Where did it hold under? Right? It held under 98. And finally, when it broke below that 95, look what it did. Broke below, came up for a little weak retest, and then completely sold off after that. So it just shows you whoever was buying here on all those different contracts, would definitely be hitting those stops as it goes the opposite way, which it is. And as you can see, that's what drives price to the downside like it is right now. And like I said, not a whole lot of support here at that 84, and as you can see, it's holding below it, which to me is a good sign. And I could see this thing move down even further and probably hit our targets. I would like to see it just hit it right now, but it may not happen. But it is after lunch, so this thing is kind of moving in one direction. Alright, we're about 25 minutes in the video now, so I doubt you guys really want to watch this thing all the way through. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video here. Lesson learned is, market profile is what makes this market so easy to trade, for me at least. Without it, I wouldn't know where my trade setups were, and without this contextual kind of trading and talking through and saying what's going on here, I can now make better decisions in the market. So with that said, I am going to close out this video. Hope you guys learned something. This is only Monday, guys. This is just one day out of the week is what I'm trying to get the point across here. And I'm starting to be a little bit delusional. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm tired, and usually when you're tired, you make bad decisions. So I'll go ahead and cut this video off. I can't focus. I'm still in a live trade, but I want to make a video for you guys. So let me close this out and talk to you guys tomorrow and later this week. Bye.